Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Jimmy, his name is Frank, and his name is Larry, and we're a triple threat. Are we not?
Sure.
What we need is one more, Frank, and we could call ourselves the Horsemen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we just need a fourth member. Wonder who that's
What
going to be.
number you said?
I said all we're missing is one more member. We can call ourselves the Horsemen.
Is he the
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Nah, it's all good. Well, let's get right to it. For those of you that haven't seen SummerSlam, this is something you're going to want to avoid if you don't like spoilers. The night opened up with Orton versus Sheamus, which, as we all know, is pretty clear cut that you're going to get a boring match to start the show. But I have to say, I did enjoy the finish of Sheamus outsmarting Orton and hitting it with 2 brogue kicks for the win. What did you think, Larry?
I'll be honest. I'm just tired of seeing them wrestle. It's like I feel like it's John Cena and Orton all over again with them. It's like I've seen them wrestle so many times. But for what it's worth, I'm gonna say this. I'm not a big fan of curtain jerker matches. Like when they throw like what should be the most intense match for later. And that's a running thing with this, as I think the setup and the booking of the matches was actually pretty damn good for this card, you know? And I'm kind of glad they started with this match, because every match from here was far more palpable, if I may say, if such a word could be used.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly can be used for 3 of the matches, absolutely. And that's all I have to say about that one. It's like, you know, there were no real big spots. I mean, it was kind of just like, cool, are we done yet? Did one of them win yet? Oh, okay, Sheamus won. Good. The Money in the Bank winner means something. Amazing. That's it.
Well, after Orton and Sheamus, what was the next match on the card?
The next match would be the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match between The New Day, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Biggie Langston versus the Primetime Players, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil versus the Lucha Dragons, Kalisto and Sin Cara versus Los Matadores, Fernando and Diego Fernando with El Torito.
Is it just me? Or is it every time we have to compare a WWE show to NXT, it just doesn't seem like a level playing field in terms of performance?
No. Honestly, if I could give the first thing everyone says about this match, and again they're right, was that this was a complete botch fest. I think it's because...
What do you expect? There's 8 people running around. It's made up in short time. It's just a throwaway match.
You're 100% right. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that you have 4 people who have not yet mastered the art of working together yet. They're all over the place with different styles. But I'm going to say this.
I'm sorry. Let me
Go ahead. Go for it.
What happened to the SummerSlam last night? What do you think with the 1 or 2 matches or 3 matches that sold the pay-per-view?
That saved the pay-per-view?
That sold the pay-per-view. That people actually just were going to watch because they had to watch these matches.
Well, there were only 3, really. And even then, 2 out of the 3 were botched because of...
You tuned in to watch Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Brock against The Undertaker, and maybe Kevin Owens against Cesaro.
Not maybe, definitely. Especially because they were the only goddamn match worth a damn that actually ended and was fought properly. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here on that one.
Yeah, but that's my whole point. This show is just thrown together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be taken like serious.
There's no forward planning, and I told everyone that. I'm like, listen to me. The only match we knew, I believe even 3 weeks after after this was announced, was Taker versus Lesnar. For the longest time, that was the only confirmed match for SummerSlam. And I'm like,
that's really the match that sells it. You know, that's.
Absolutely, but you want to at least have some idea of where things are going. And I don't think anyone knew. Like, we didn't know who was fighting for the title. We didn't know what was going on with any other title. We didn't know anything about anyone for 3 weeks. And I'm like, what kind of booking is this?
They put all their chips on Brock and Undertaker.
Exactly. Which was, again, Standard WWE. We got to rely on our past because we failed to build our future. Which, thankfully, hopefully with Cesaro and Owens, they're doing that. But then tonight's Raw happened, so you know. But anyway, yeah. What I was gonna say was, if I'm gonna give props to one botch, it has to be the last spot at the end where Titus O'Neil goes under the Lucha Dragons and they suplex one of the Matadors. Now, the botch was that as the Lucha Dragons were going to suplex one of the Matadors, he falls off. Credit where credit's due. As soon as the other, I couldn't tell who it was, but as soon as the other Matador saw this, he ran to the turnbuckle to save the spot. So, credit where credit's due. It was a good save. But it was still stupid.
I'm sure we'll see it on Botchamania.
Exactly. That whole match is going to be featured on Botchamania. I guarantee
you have to expect that. It's just too much chaos, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the crowd, I think, got what they wanted. The New Day won. So, you know, the crowd got what they wanted. Which brings us to our next match. Dolph Ziggler with Lana versus Rusev with Summer Rae. Here's where I started to lose patience with the card. This is where I started to lose my patience. If you don't remember, this match, I believe, ended on a double countout. And already you're starting shenanigans on SummerSlam. You're already starting false finishes. You know what I mean? We're only 3 matches in.
Yeah, maybe you're saying that maybe they finished, they wasted a first finish on this match?
Yeah. I mean, somebody needed to go over here. But once again, it's that classic booking where nobody can go over anybody in the mid-card. We can't have anybody looking stronger than anybody else, so how can we screw this up? And they did it. They basically made that Rusev and Ziggler both got counted out. 2 people everybody loves to cheer, especially Ziggler. And, you know,
Why
Ziggler...
did they get counted out?
Huh? Yeah, they both got counted out.
Counted out?
Mm-hmm.
Why did they get counted out? Because of the women?
Huh? I don't remember what it was. I really don't remember what it was, all because I was so annoyed. I just remember that there's no finish. It was basically a no contest, double count out, and I was like...
Did you like Ronnie's new wardrobe?
Say again?
Did you like Ronnie's new wardrobe? Yes, now what?
Yeah. Well, I couldn't hear you, man. What?
I said, did you like Ronnie's new wardrobe?
Did I like Lana's new haircut?
Wardrobe, a dress.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, but you know, I'm not watching the show for that. You know.
And what's after that?
Well, you haven't had anything to say about any of this so far, James.
Make it more sexy.
Yeah.
Please.
Anyway, you haven't had anything to say about any of this so far.
I'm saving my energy.
All right.
I'm conserving.
Well, then the next match on the card, Stephen Arnell, a.k.a. The Arrow, and Neville defeats Stardust and King Barrett. Well, okay, so the big defense everybody has for this match is, well, Steve Amell, what is it, Arnell, I forget.
What show is this from? What?
The Arrow. Well, The Arrow performed very well, you know, and it's like, yeah, but at the
What's the Green Arrow? What's that, DC
yeah, it's that DC show on CW, I believe. I don't know. I don't watch it. It's like, honestly, I'm not here to watch celebrities throw themselves in the ring. I don't care how good they are. My thing is, you had a perfectly good match with Stardust versus Neville, but no, we couldn't have that, could we?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm falling asleep here.
I could see that. Even the descriptions are knocking you out.
You did a good job.
Sorry, fellas. It's been a long couple of days for me, but
I understand.
No, but that just goes to show you how disinterested, you know, some of us can be towards the way the product is. I mean, I was in the building for SummerSlam. You know, I was happy, you know, anyone's happy to be at a live show. But
They made a 4-hour show. They just tried to appease everybody, give a little bit to everybody, you know.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, this was one match I'm sure there were... here's my thing, and I'm sounding like such an idiot right now, but I'm sure there were some parts in the match that were pretty exciting to watch, but I just didn't care. I so didn't care. I was like, why...
For like us, well, I guess you could call us hardcore fans, we know what kind of match that is. That's just a match to get promotions and the mainstream coverage. So we know that. They've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly...
Did that guy, Steve Arnell, embarrass himself, you think? Or did he actually well in the ring.
He did okay, like, you know, he did as well as you can expect for a non-wrestler, I guess I can say
He wasn't
that.
like a Jay Leno, was he?
Huh?
He wasn't like Jay Leno, right?
Oh,
No,
no,
not at all, not at all.
no. He wasn't David Arquette either, so, you know, I can't.
Next match.
Okay, well, we're skipping along here. Oh, gee, can we skip this one? Ryback, Big Show, and The Miz. Can we just skip it?
I think we should do what they did.
That whole feud is stupid. And even tonight, they teased a Big Show. He's going to turn face again, and then everybody he has no friends now.
Are they ever going to put Ryback against? Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Are they ever going to put Ryback against anybody but the Big Show? Because I feel like that is all he's fought.
Stupid. Every time Big Show becomes bad guy, then he becomes good, and nobody likes him. It's like, we've seen this like 5 times before. It's so stupid. You know, it just sucks.
I feel like Ryback has fought nobody but the Big Show since he's won the IC title. I really do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ryback has probably had the most wins of an IC champion in the past 10 years.
It's good for him. He should have been the IC champ 2 years ago. They should have given him the IC champ, IC title 2 years ago. After he had that feud with Cena, whatever.
There's really not much to say about this. I mean, you know, you got two very slow, very boring people going up against each other, and then there was The Miz.
Another soul match.
And The Miz, you know, you just throw him in there, you know. All right, so starting to pick up a little bit. Next match starting to pick up a little bit with this one. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. I love watching these men perform.
Yeah, ever since they debuted,
anytime you throw any of the members of the Shield in with any member of the Wyatts, I'm a happy guy. I really am.
And these matches usually steal the show. There was rumors again that Reigns is going to turn on Ambrose, which is just crap. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't usually drop the hammer like this because, honestly, I feel like any audience should have a right to express themselves. However, I do have to say this. I heard them booing Reigns like there was no tomorrow yesterday, and I don't understand why. Like, I do. I so get it. And you know what? If that's the case, I understand. Because, again, it's the classic hatred of we feel that he's going to be forced down our throats, that he's going to be seen at 2.0, and I get it. I so get it. And I'm with you on that.
You know what? They need to do him like a two things to fix. They need to make him look more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Make him more cocky and make him a little bit of a heel for a while.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. And then
absolutely. I'll tell you this, though. Go ahead.
The Superman punch, it's like he cleans house all the time. It's like people, it's like they see Superman 2.0, like you said.
And he's been doing that. If anything, that last SummerSlam's match and Raw's match proved is he's finally fighting with intensity. He's not fighting like the John Cena underdog anymore. Now all you gotta do is get the character. You just gotta get that character.
To connect it with tonight's Raw, I'm surprised that the new Raw member he took both Reigns and Ambrose out. I mean, when's the last time you saw somebody manhandle Roman Reigns like that? Right?
I am gonna say this, Frank, and James is with me. What was his full name? What was it? Braun Strowman, right?
Braun Strowman, who cares? I don't know.
Well, I do because I want to learn this man's
monster.
I want to learn this man's name because I respect this guy. Because honestly, I have never seen such a monster heel debut since Umaga. And the way this man was booked tonight frightened me. Like,
that's what I'm saying. When's the last time you saw somebody manhandle?
Never. And you know what? This guy literally looked like Brock Lesnar if you put a bike air pump in his chest and just went...
He looks like a giant biker.
He looked... I've never even seen a man shaped like that.
The point is maybe they are trying to lessen Roman Reigns, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god. And he no-selled like a champ. He no-selled like a pure monster. I am eagerly awaiting to see when this man gets into his first match.
This means we're going to get a third member for Ambrose and Reigns.
And
right?
who did you pick, James?
In terms of that tag team match,
Yeah.
I wanted the Wyatts to win, but I knew Roman Reigns was getting the victory.
Right, but we're talking about with Braun. Now that Braun has become the mysterious third member of the Wyatts, who did you pick to be the Shield's third man?
I honestly haven't given it any thought.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They're
Oh.
going to reform the Shield?
Wait a
or
second,
they're just
wait
gonna
a s-
get
wait a
bigger
second.
guy to tag team with them?
Actually, I did come up with a possible third member if they really wanted to do something crazy
Yeah.
and catch everybody off guard. The Wyatts are beating the hell out of the Shield guys, and then out of nowhere,
I'd flip out.
Morrigel?
I'd go nuts.
absolutely.
That would work.
Yep. Well, that's all I really have to say about that match. Is like,
Would you throw somebody completely under the radar?
Well, you could go that way as well, but if I was booking it, that's exactly how I would.
just get somebody to be exposed. Like, just give somebody exposure. That's
Yeah.
all you really need. You really need whoever this third. If they get a third person to help with the Wyatts, and even a fourth person should. What's his name come back?
Eric Rowan.
Eric Rowan. But here's the one fear that I do have. There's one little fear I have. What if Eric Rowan comes back and joins Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns? See, this is.
Unless he gets a complete makeover.
Yeah, but you know what? That's me. I know how to look at it from the silly WWE's line of booking.
Well,
You know?
and speaking of silly WWE,
Yeah. So at this point, yeah.
we're getting to the
Then
day.
what was the next match?
Next would be title for title, John Cena versus Seth Rollins, which I was shocked to see as the third to last match of the card, but I like that they did that.
Not that it.
Well, they didn't want to close out with potential booing.
I don't care what anybody says. John Cena is the greatest of all time.
I agree with you. Come on.
I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, what kind of a hero, walks into a building in the biggest city in the world and gets booed?
And when you said that he made 500 make-a-wishes and the fans blew him.
Oh, absolutely! Because him doing all of those make-a-wishes makes him such a great athlete. I mean, this when he was.
Wait, what was that word that I used tonight? It's a smarty crowd.
Yeah, it's just a smarky crowd. Don't take them seriously. They're not real fans. They just don't understand the business.
Yeah, New York was only the birthplace of WrestleMania.
Nothing special. I mean, those places like New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Texas. Those places were just the places that Vince used to gauge his audience in front of. Now because he's the only game in town, he doesn't give a damn.
Right. What did you guys think about Seth Rollins' white ring gear?
I actually loved his new gear.
Tiger Zord. Sorry, it was all on our minds. All of our minds. Let's face it. So the match itself. So if I may interject just a little bit here.
What were the reactions for both guys?
Do you really? Okay, I'll humor you guys. Okay, Seth Rollins got a massive pop. I thought they were gonna set the place on fire when Cena came out. Like literally, like they were gonna throw Molotov cocktails at the man.
Oh, okay.
That having been
like the top heel.
That having been said, I really believe Cena performed very well in this match. Okay, I think he performed very well. Now, of course, he still botched moves. Yes, I get it. And, you know it. You know when he botches, especially that springboard stunner, which he never gets right. And why do you know he never gets it right? Because what does Michael Cole always say after every single springboard stunner? He didn't quite get all of it, which is cover for he botched the move. And I challenge any of you, go out there, watch any match where John does the springboard stunner, and I guarantee you that's what follows. He didn't get all of it, of some variation. But credit where credit's due. These two men wrestled an amazing match. Or at least it would have been an amazing match.
And it looked like Cena was on his way to winning again, right?
Yeah, he was going to win again, yeah, but it was still a really... Yes, then he gets knocked out, and this right here is exactly the point that I made that Jimmy referenced. At this point, it should be made clear what the main difference is between NXT booking and WWE mainstream booking. In NXT, they know how to satisfy you, but still leave you wanting more. Your reaction in an NXT is you get a satisfactory conclusion to a match, and your next reaction is, wow, I can't wait to see what they're going to do next, as opposed to what happened on SummerSlam. Here's the thing. A shitty ending can completely make you either completely forget or seriously harm a match.
That was good.
And as I saw Jon Stewart waddle to the ring with the chair, every step he took towards that ring made me forget more and more of the match until he finally reached the ring and I went, this whole match does not matter. I don't care.
Of course, that's the whole point of it.
Yep. So, obviously...
That's the whole point of it. It doesn't count.
Nope. Because since we cannot have anyone possibly get over in this industry who's not named Brock Lesnar or John Cena, this happens. And what would have been an amazing... Even if Cena would have won, which really even though that wouldn't have surprised us, we still would have gotten a great match. An outstanding match. Yeah, Cena would have won, but at least I would have gotten a definitive ending. And I would have known...
You when you saw Stewart come out there, you knew he was going to hit John Cena?
When I saw Stewart come out there, I absolutely knew he was going to hit John Cena. Absolutely.
Him and Rollins are enemies.
Mm-hmm. I knew he was going to hit John Cena. Because WWE doesn't think that we have a brain. That's the thing. Like, of course he's going to come out and hit Cena. Because what's the point? Cena had Rollins beat. Why would he need him to hit it with a chair? If he did that, Rollins would have been a face, and Cena would have turned heel. And what's the one thing WWE is never going to do, aside from having Cena ever lose a feud clean? Turn him heel.
Okay. So what did you think about what happened on Raw tonight when Cena's Ric Flair came out to defend Cena?
Okay, I got something to say about this tonight. Okay. This entire night really got on my nerves in the midway point of the show. The first hour of Raw, and you know what, just so we can shorten this to 2 parts, because I don't think you can survive for a third.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Sure,
not a problem. Not a problem.
I'm sorry, what do you think about the whole Ric Flair coming out to defend Cena?
The first hour of Raw was flawless. And then we get to the half part of the night, where I swear to God, the entire night just seemed to be John Cena is amazing. I have to hear everybody defend this man. And I'm sorry, it's just like, when did anybody in wrestling history ever need so much validation from within the company? I don't remember anybody saying, every night after night saying how Austin was the greatest.
Because I'll tell you why I'll tell you guys why that's the case. Because he isn't that great. He isn't that great. And I really don't give a damn what other people's opinions are on that matter. Because John Cena does not belong in the class of the Austins, the Undertaker,
right.
the Rocks.
You said before on the webpage, on the page, said that John Cena represented all the internet fans who hate the fact that Cena's going to break Ric Flair's record.
Right, and right there off the bat, I'm like, they are going to do this as a slap in the face to anybody. And you know what? It's like, you as a business are taking this much time out of your show
to insult your audience
and your audience.
Ric Flair is telling you, it's coming out of my mouth. learn to don't. If you don't like it, you still gotta love it.
Yeah.
Like,
it was good for said so. That's why.
And I went honestly.
And by the way, Ric Flair was not paid to say any of those comments, and not last night, and not 2 weeks ago in the interview. He said it on his own because he was the greatest. Stop being jealous. You guys always have come up with complaints and excuses.
I don't offer any excuses when it comes to John Cena. I offer facts. I offer facts like the fact that Kevin Owens was making WWE a lot of money in merchandise. He was catching a lot of steam. What did they do with him? I look at the fact that, since the day after WrestleMania, guys like Sami Zayn, guys like Dean Ambrose, guys like Kevin Owens have all had to do jobs for this guy. I look at the fact.
Did you notice that? I guess what you said about Jon Stewart representing the fans, and also did you notice how they're saying things that the fans are saying, like they threw him out of the building, and he's not going to steal the spotlight like what he's good at that.
The WWE knows how the fans feel.
Yeah, that's true. Did you notice that? Did you notice that they're talking down to Cena?
They don't care. They don't care. And I get a lot of flack for blaming him because I think he should simply put his foot down and say, no, I'm not doing. If he really cares about this business and the integrity of this business and the future of this business, he's not going to be in these big matches after being the top guy for 10 years and being the 15-time world champion. Let's listen. I'm going to put it to you this way. If you're a John Cena fan, you have no right to complain.
Right.
You've had 10 years getting your way.
What happened? Well, I actually missed it tonight. When him and Jon Stewart were going back and forth, what was it that Jon Stewart said about you can't see me and Cena blew up and said this ain't a comedy show? What did he say?
John Cena says this isn't a comedy show 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, in the promo.
Nine times out of... Well, listen, when John Cena talks, I put earbuds in my ears because I don't want to hear that.
This is the show which features a giant bunny and a little bull mascot.
It's not a comedy show. What a jerk.
Yeah, this is from the show that has a giant bunny and a little bull mascot running around.
It's not a comedy show. When it comes to John Cena, it's a drama. It's a thriller.
Look, I'm going to say this, and honestly, I'm just going to say this about John Cena. Here's the thing, and you guys are going to hate me for this, I know. Here's the thing. I respect John Cena as a worker. That's it. I'm sorry. As a worker, all right? I like that he tries in his matches. He really does try.
Tries too hard.
Okay, but I'd rather you try too hard than not try at all. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he does try, and sometimes he tries too hard. Where I start taking offense, though, is when I have nights like tonight. When I have to have an entire half hour or 45 minutes telling me, as a fan, what I should like and how I should think. I get insulted as a consumer. And it also happened in WrestleMania when John Cena was constantly using the armed forces to go against Rusev. And I'm like, so basically, if I want Rusev to win, then I'm an American. Thanks, WWE. I really appreciate that.
Of course, and if you don't want Cena to win, you hate cancer. You hate children with cancer patients.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I don't like, is that you pigeon... Yeah, exactly. I get pigeonholed into liking a guy because I can't not like another guy. Otherwise, I'm against everything that guy stands for. No, I'm sorry. That's not how you should be. You don't manipulate your customers. And that's where you start to fail as a business. As soon as you start telling people what they want and stop listening to them, that's where you start to fail as a business. Because you think you know more than you think you know more than you should learn. That's the thing. You have to grow and alter and change with the consumers, because the consumers are not going to change for you. That's with any business. You know what I mean?
So do you think that Cena's going to win the feud rounds and eventually get the belts back?
Absolutely.
Why would I think anything different?
Unless Sting is now in the equation.
Yeah, okay, so what do you think it all means? So, what do you think Sting showing up tonight meant?
Honestly,
He's
dude.
obviously challenging Rollins and the authority for the belt. He wants to be the challenger. So do you think they're going to have
I honestly think that Sting is going to end up losing to Seth Rollins to make the guy look good, and he'll do the job clean, unlike John Cena, because Sting doesn't need protection. He's a legend regardless. I feel that Sting doesn't belong wrestling anybody that is not named The Undertaker. I'm sorry. You could call it selfish. You look at the WWE polls. They conducted a poll who they want to see fight Sting. Seth Rollins was listed in that, or it was in that category, but Seth Rollins wasn't even the number 2 guy that had the most votes, and the number 2 guy only had 14% of the vote.
Who was number 2?
Number 2 was...
Let me ask you, what if Sting beats Rollins for the belt and becomes the WWE champion?
It'll be a double-edged sword, because I'll be happy to see Sting get the WWE title after all these years, but at the same time, I don't want to see that happen at the expense of the growth of the future.
Because the fear I have... Okay, look, in James's fantasy perfect world, let me stop me if I'm ever wrong. In the perfect world of this man right over here, now let's assume that the Undertaker and Sting were still in their prime. Here's what little boy James wants to see happen. Sting wins the belt. Undertaker wins the Rumble. They fight at WrestleMania for the career versus career legendary match. Here's the problem, though, and this is still the same problem that we've been facing for the past 3 years. All of this, the Brock Lesnars, the Batistas, the Rocks, the Stings, all of this is happening at the cost of developing an exposure of the new talent. There is only one other company that I can... Actually, there's 2 other ones. There's one other company I can think of that did the same thing, and they went out of business. You happen to know what that company was, Frank?
WCW?
Exactly. And there's another company.
Then you have the WWE argue and say, hey, we wanted to push Reigns into the spotlight, and the fans rejected him.
We wanted to put who?
Reigns.
And that's the wonderful thing. That's the wonderful thing, is that they're always ready for an excuse. And here's another great example. The Divas match tonight, when you had PCB versus I hate saying that, Paige, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch versus the Bellas, and who the hell was that? Naomi? Naomi. Now, there was no reaction, and the crowd did the wave, which, for those of you who don't know what the wave is, that's pretty much the worst crowd reaction you can get in a match. Now,
they're not paying attention, and they're making fun for themselves.
Yep. Now, who is going to get the blame for that? Do you think it's going to be the untalented Bellas and Naomi? Or do you think it's going to be the new blood who've been putting on 5-star matches in NXT where they allow you to wrestle? Who's going to get the blame for that?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And you know what? Here's the one good thing. The one good thing about this. Now, we all remember I had to bring this up, I'm sorry. But we all remember the CM Punk Colt Cabana cast, right? CM Punk basically said he had no one on his side. He didn't have McMahon, he didn't have any of Creative, and he didn't have Triple H. Well, here's the one comforting thought that I have. These girls do have Triple H on their side, because those are his girls. This is his and Stephanie's initiation of this whole diva.
They realize that there's an audience out there for female characters, so they are definitely they're trying to take it a little bit more serious. They just don't want these women to just be eye candy like they've been for so many years. They actually want to be athletes.
And it's just these 3. It's like I get what the mindset is. It's like they think that if they put the Bellas in the same match of these amazing female athletes, that they themselves are going to become amazing female athletes. And no, that's just so not the case.
I think it just has to do with with the show, the reality show. Maybe they could get a little rub from them, but that's about it.
Yeah, the problem is that this is actually doing the exact opposite. Is that these three women are so talented. They don't wrestle circles. They wrestle entire subspaces of existence around the Bellas. And it only further exposes them for the lack of talent that they have.
And the fact of the matter is, the only reason that Nikki Bella is going to be the Divas champion for the next few days is so that way she could erase the fact that Paige had the longest run, that AJ Lee had the longest running Divas title reign, because the WWE is that petty.
And the fact of the matter is they bring.
Let's get back to the main angle. So what did you guys think about the finish for the Undertaker and Lesnar?
Honestly, I don't care. I'm happy the Undertaker won. It's that simple.
All right.
Go ahead, Larry.
Okay. This is this is the defining example, because this is what closed the show. You left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and again ruined what could have been an otherwise amazing match. This match was exactly the match that we should have gotten at WrestleMania 30. No one's going to dispute that. The spots that they hit, Taker, the F5 on the table, it doesn't matter. And listen, here's the thing. It don't matter how old you are. It don't matter how in shape you are. You don't take an F5 on a table. Let me just start this up here. You don't take an F5 on a table and not walk away from that unharmed. I believe.
You could see the Undertaker had welts over his back. Leslie's face was all cut up.
There were some great spots.
Anytime two guys like that go at it, they're going to make them, they're going to leave a scratch.
Yep, the sit up and laugh was, it's going to be memed to high heaven, but god damn it, we all love the scene. We all love the spot. There were some intense moments. Oddly enough, the announcers did not talk up the fact that The Undertaker kicked out of 3 F5s. I was shocked that they didn't talk that up, because that was what ended the streak. And then we get to the finish. And this is where I knew there was something wrong before it even happened. Again, like always, the commentators, when you want to determine whether something's a botch or not, you listen to the commentators, because these commentators are that bad. They don't know how to cover.
I don't think they knew what was going to happen.
No, here, let me get to this. Because what happened was the commentators ended up spoiling the ending before it even happened. Because what happens is, when Brock has Taker in the Kimura lock, his shoulders aren't even near the mat yet, when, I don't know if it's Michael Cole or King, who immediately starts saying, oh, his shoulders are down. The ref should... I'm like, his shoulders aren't even remotely close to being down. And then I think to myself, oh, that's how this is going to end, isn't it? Because I know they missed it. They blew the spot, And then that whole thing with the bell happened, which I do not get. I don't get at all. I don't know what the point of it was. And here's the other thing. Even if that was your ending, why did you make Taker tap? Why?
Because it keeps everybody strong, that's why. It keeps everybody strong. It shows, the Undertaker tapped to Brock Lesnar, but then he made Lesnar pass out. And then, of course, they made Lesnar stick his little finger up, saying, how badass is that?
Well, that was a badass spot. It certainly was a badass spot. But here's how you protect the...
But the thing you're not touching on is that they're trying to push Undertaker maybe as a heel. Did you notice how Brock Lesnar was getting cheated tonight and Undertaker was getting booed?
But I want you to say the sentence you just said. You're trying to push Undertaker as a heel in 2015. That doesn't work. Because nobody doesn't like The Undertaker.
Being desperate,
Exactly. Now, here's how you could...
Did you notice that they were booing Brock Lesnar tonight and they were booing The Undertaker?
Right. But now, what would have been the problem with this? You speak of protection. Now, what would have been the problem with this? What if Undertaker just got the 3 count on a stubborn Brock Lesnar who refused to break the hold?
Well, I guess you could have run with that, but that's the thing. They're trying to make you... they're keeping everybody strong, and they're showing that the Undertaker needed to pull out all stops.
I have an example for you. Survivor Series. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin was just starting to get hot. And did Austin lose any momentum for when he didn't break the sleeper hold and refused to let go? No. He was still very strong.
Right, I think that was pretty much his last fight. Brock took a little for rip as he was passing out.
That's what I'm saying, but that's the thing. That's the WrestleMania thing, but that came after the fact. The problem is, though, Undertaker had already tapped. My argument is, you didn't need to have Undertaker tap in order to do this. That's all I have to say.
In all honesty, I felt the tap out was unnecessary. I didn't think that they needed to make the Undertaker do that. It doesn't change the.
He could come back and say that he did it. You know,
The fact of the matter is, in the record books, it'll state that he's never submitted, and honestly, I don't care. As long, as long,
considerably stronger, and I think you heard it. They're gonna have another rematch.
as long,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
as long as the Undertaker and Sting fight each other in the end, I really don't care where it goes.
And that's the other thing I like is that Paul Heyman essentially kept the idea of the Sting-Taker match still happening at Mania, especially with the promo he cut tonight when he's like, I don't want this at Mania. I don't want this at Royal Rumble. I don't want this at Survivor Series. I want this now. And you know what? I think the sooner...
It's going to happen at the next pay-per-view? Or
Right.
What's Hell in a Cell?
Here's why I think it's going to be Hell in a Cell. There's a certain match that is a legendary Hell in a Cell match with Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. You might remember this match as being the Gore Fest when half of Taker's face was hanging off of his skull. You may remember that. If they play this up and they book this right, how badly Brock Lesnar destroyed The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, and they book this right, you'll have a great match at Hell in a Cell. Even though it's going to be, of course, you're never going to have that quality match because this is PG era wrestling. But here's what I think. I think the sooner you get the rubber match over with Brock Lesnar and Taker, the better. Because I don't think anyone, honestly, I don't think this novelty is going to last till Mania. And if they try to let it go to Mania, it's going to lose steam.
No, you're right. They have to do this right away.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's again, as James brought it up, you can't... Okay, it's in Texas this year, right, Mania? You can't, man. Like, if you're going to have the Sting-Taker match, it's got to be next year. Because Brock Lesnar and Taker, at that point at Mania...
It'd be beaten to death.
Yeah, people would have been sick of it already, and the point is you're trying to sell out Mania. Now, you put Undertaker and Sting, the dream career-ending match, yeah.
Then you got something special. And quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, that's where I want to end it for tonight. For myself, for Frank, for Larry, that's our show, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye, guys.